do with my rates?
Where do my rates go?
Where do the council spend my rates?
I'd like to know where the council spend my rates.
What ho! We're going to take a look at Napier City Council's 10-year plan from 2012 to 2022. We'll call it the plan. The council sets out what it wants to achieve in the next 10 years, estimates how much that will cost, and what it will mean to you, the ratepayer. First, let's take a look at where your $8 went in 2012.
28 cents on roads. We have 352 kilometres, all sealed.
11.5 cents on wastewater. 7 cents on water supply. And in Napier, it's pure. Nothing added.
6.5 cents on stormwater. Because we're so low lying, we have to pump 73% of our stormwater to get it to the sea.
6 cents on libraries, and it's not just books.
5.5 cents on sports grounds.
5 cents on gardens and reserves.
4.5 cents on solid waste.
4 cents on democracy and governance. That's elections, councillors' costs, meeting costs, that sort of thing.
3 cents on Napier Aquatic Centre. 3 cents on cultural services.
2 cents on community development.
And 13 cents on all sorts of other things the council supplies, like public toilets, planning and regulation services, city promotion, tourism facilities, emergency management, cemeteries, animal control, and community safety.
Gosh, that's a lot, isn't it? So, how much does all that cost? About $79 million in 2012, or about $4.48 a day to the average ratepayer. About the cost of a cup of coffee.
Well, that's now. What about the future? What challenges are we facing? What are the big things we're working on in the next 10 years?
Everyone expects that the current facilities will continue. We constantly review the way we do things to keep existing services running at a minimum cost. But massive rises in oil and electricity prices make this increasingly difficult.
Whatever we do, we use 2 basic principles in all our decisions. All projects must represent value for money. And we proceed cautiously and have all our finance in place before any expenditure is committed. Over the last 8 years, the council have been reducing external debt, and this currently stands at less than $4 million. It's council policy to use internal funds from asset sales and reserves to fund capital expenditure, and thus extinguish external debt.
Let's take a look at the things that make the city work. This is the pilot of the biological trickling filter for the treatment of wastewater. The pilot has been successful and construction of the full-size project will commence in 2012-13. This is a $33 million project and the funds have already been accumulated, so no external borrowing will be required.
3 rain bombs in the last decade briefly overwhelmed parts of the city, and in addition, the trend towards smaller sections increases runoff.
A major project, the Overland Drain, completed in 2010, has helped alleviate the problem in the southern half of the city. But we need to do more if we're to stay ahead of the problem.
To alleviate the risk of flooding in the city centre, a major stormwater sewer will be constructed along Tennyson Street. The outlet for this sewer will be by means of a pier on Marine Parade Beach between the Tom Parker Fountain and the Veronica Sun Bay. Major works in Taradale and Green Meadows and large-scale upgrades in Napier South and Mariwa will also be completed. The total cost of those projects is estimated to be $16 million.
And now let's take a look at the things that make Napier a great place to live. The $18 million redevelopment of the Hawke's Bay Museum is already underway and is funded by three $6 million contributions from Napier City Council, central government and benefactors. Let's look at what's happening. Firstly, restore and reveal the original J. Louis Hay designed museum with its reinstated doorway. This building will then house the Hawke's Bay Archives with a reading room and specialist gallery dedicated to regional history. The Century Theatre will be retained and enhanced, and we intend to take this seriously. Although not yet heritage, the Century Theatre is a fine example of late 1970s architecture. We intend to preserve tomorrow's heritage. The two buildings at the southern end of the site will be removed. The Lilliput building will be demolished, but the old Borough Council offices, which date from 1874 but have been heavily modified in the ensuing years, will be relocated. In their place, a new wing will be constructed containing galleries, public spaces, staff facilities and workshops. Designed by Richard Daniels of Opus, it's a contemporary work sympathetic to Napier's Art Deco heritage. Artworks by New Zealand artist Sarah Hughes have been commissioned for interior and exterior spaces of the gallery. This wing will connect back to the older building via a linking gallery running around the side of the existing auditorium and exiting in the old foyer, where a cafe will enhance the attractiveness of the facility to the community. The complex is due to open in autumn 2013 and will see Herschel Street redeveloped as a cultural precinct to coincide with the opening. Napier is a tourism town, and in these difficult times we must make the most of our investments in facilities. Ratepayers have told us they prefer passive recreation areas for family time and of the need to provide more for children. The popular Marine Play playground will be extended to the north and include playground equipment for older children and space for family picnics. How do I get off? Between the existing playground and the National Aquarium, more family-friendly facilities will be developed. These will include landscaping, shade areas, barbecues. It's difficult to predict what's going to be important in the future. We know there are some challenges that we're going to have to face.
Climate change. Informed opinion tells us that our weather patterns are changing. For Napier, it's likely to mean drier conditions but more rain events, so overall we shall have the same amount of rainfall. This change will have a major effect on stormwater disposal, as will the predicted rise in sea levels. We are looking up to 50 years ahead to mitigate these changes and move towards a sustainable solution.
Next, sustainability. We're making sure everything we do has enduring value, from low wattage bulbs to education in water usage and waste minimisation.
There has been a lot of conjecture recently about the future shape and size of local government, both nationally and in Hawke's Bay. Napier City is committed to working towards more shared services and has already an agreement on 19 different areas with her neighbours, from refuse disposal to planning for future urban growth. Other services are being investigated, including refuse collection and planning and building regulation.
And then urban design. Particularly important to us, we're working hard to ensure the city remains a wonderful place to live in that it is now, with particular regard to human needs and aesthetics.
Hastings Street is to be redeveloped in conjunction with the stormwater upgrade. This will be to the same design as Dickens Street and result in improved parking and a safer and more pedestrian-friendly street environment. Over the last 3 years, we have commenced a programme for the greening of Napier. We have planted over 1,000 trees in streets, along highways and in reserves. Napier is a seaside city but has a fabulous backdrop of hills. Long term, we should like to protect that skyline and provide public space along its length so that all citizens can continue to enjoy the vistas.
Now those are just the highlights of the capital elements of the plan. You can get all the details from the Napier City Council offices, the library or from our website. But the question most ratepayers ask is, how much is this going to cost me? Every year we have to rate to keep services going and for the flow on from capital expenditure.
In view of the present economic circumstances, the Council have acted very prudently, and the rate rise for 2012-13 will be below the rate of inflation at 2.2%. And the cost of all that to the average ratepayer? About $4.61 a day for all the services that the Council provides. Still the cost of a cup of coffee.
Don't forget you can have your say about the plan. Submissions open on the 14th of April and close on the 23rd of May. Written submissions can be supplemented by oral submissions later on. So come along, meet the Council face to face and have your say about the plan. Just check one of the addresses below or check the website. Come on in and have your say.